Mr. Chairman, fellow speakers, I'd like to pay tribute to Louie. He's an iconic Australian and the world's oldest fly. You know who I'm talking about. He spreads disease with the greatest of ease. He's bad and he's mean and he's mighty unclean. And he's retiring, aged 65. Despite being dramatically killed many, many times, Louie the Fly has had a remarkably long career, especially if you consider that the average housefly only lives for about 20 days. He's been flying and dying for 65 years. And he certainly left an impression upon us, the Australian public. When we see a fly, we automatically reach for a can of fly spray. But it's got to be Mortein, because we know that Louie the Fly is afraid of no one. No one except the man with the can of Mortein. Louie was born in 1957, and for some strange reason, we loved that fly, with his little hat and his little cigar. Those were the glory days of television in Australia. We were innocent. Some might even say we were naive. But we've learned a few things since 1957. To start with, we learned that smoking cigars causes cancer, and that accumulated insecticides and pesticides affect brain development, particularly in children. And we learned that CFCs deplete the ozone layer. And we've grown distrustful of corporations that insist their products are not dangerous. But we still have a soft spot for Louie. When Louie the Fly was created, he was cast as a real villain, a gangster from Chicago. But I wonder, who's the real villain in all of this? I'll give you a hint. It's not Louie, because we now know the truth. And the truth is that the primary obligation of corporations is the financial enrichment of their shareholders. The health and well-being of the general public, well, that's secondary. They have to make as much profit as possible before their lies are exposed. For them, it's a race against the clock. So now, 65 years later, with the glory days of television advertising long gone, and with Louie hanging up his little hat, we need to ask ourselves, is spraying neurotoxins around inside our homes a good idea? Sure, fly spray doesn't kill us on the spot, but is it safe for us and our pets to inhale? Is it wise to spray chemicals all over our furniture, floors, bench tops, and even ourselves? I don't think it is. The company that makes Mortein says that based on available data, there are no known significant health effects. But it's interesting to note that in the fine print, they recommend wearing a respirator and PPE when using fly spray. So, if you want to avoid ingesting these toxic chemicals, what can you do? Firstly, to avoid flies coming straight from the rubbish tip to you, it's best to keep your home and garden clear of any rotting material that attracts flies. And move your rubbish bin as far from your house as possible. Check that your fly screens are well fitted and the mesh is in good order. Buy some fly traps. You'll be amazed at how many flies you can catch. Plant some lavender or eucalyptus in your garden. Flies hate the smell. And get yourself a fly swatter. Once all these measures are in place, you'll find that you won't need to spray as much. And poor old Louie the Fly, we can leave him to enjoy his retirement in peace.